Let's go here. Nope. Sorry. Hi everyone, sorry. Just trying to get my phone seated here. Sound and video okay. That's good. Expected the sound to be terrible because I don't have my microphone plugged in yet. Okay. Hi Pablo, how are you? Okay, I'm just gonna bring this down a little closer and tilt it up a little. All right, here we go. And then I need to go grab my other device. One moment. How was everyone's weekend? Okay. And here, this, right. Just waiting for people to arrive for dinner. Oh, cool. Today is a holiday Monday here in Canada, so usually we'd be having, well, usually actually we have our Thanksgiving dinners on the Sunday, but we didn't do much of anything this year because of the plague. So I was in a conference yesterday. My husband has been helping his brother renovate his kitchen. Yeah. And then today we're just sort of relaxing. Jordan doesn't have work. Mine was okay as usual, prepping for today's classes. Today's classes, you have late evening classes then, I'm assuming? Very late evening. Or tomorrow's classes. Oh, sorry, we're talking about the weekend. You were preparing for today's classes over the weekend. That makes more sense. Hi, how are you? How was your weekend? Okay, so you were both here during the last stream, but I swatched a whole bunch of Prussian blues and some dioxazine violets and whatever PG8 is. And then I also swatched my entire palette, like my regular studio palette. And then I swatched a few other watercolors and a few more. I've still got some spaces for swatching watercolors, but then the other thing that I'm going to do today is swatch out some inks. So I've been experimenting with working with fountain pens. Weekend was great at walk in the forest. Oh, that sounds amazing. I should really do some of that soon. It's fall and the leaves are all changing, but we still have a few warm days. So I'd like to get out into the forest myself, hopefully this week. Anyway, by the way, Paulo, thank you for the recommendation on inks. So I did get a couple of the sketch inks. I got Lily and Emma. And so I'm going to be light fast testing those, but I got a whole bunch actually. So I also have Sailor Suboku and Seiboku. I also got myself 2 more. We are terrible influences on each other. What else do I have in here? I also got myself Diatrimentis Document Brown. So I was going through inks, and honestly, I don't even remember. There was a brown ink that clogged my pen. I think it was Rohrer and Klinger Documentus, but I'm not totally sure. And so I was a little confused whether it was, like, I was hesitant to get the sketch inks because they're by Rohrer and Klinger, and I was hesitant to get the Diatrimentis because I wasn't sure whether it was Diatrimentis or Rohrer and Klinger. But I got Diatrimentis Document Brown as well as Artist Brown from Diatrimentis. I have the Platinum Carbon, which I already had. Like, I didn't buy this new. I've been using this for a while. I have the Platinum Pigment Sepia, which is, which has a splotch of watercolor that I spilled on it. Let's get this cleaned up. Sorry. So I have the Platinum Pigment Sepia, and this was the problem pigment that's prompting this whole light fast testing situation. I've just bought the Platinum Carbon in black and sepia and a TWSBI Eco. Yes. Although, Gabor, you should know that the pigment sepia, it's a lovely ink and I really enjoy it, but it's not terribly light fast. Which is why I'm testing all of these things. Just a little. It's a little upsetting because I specifically got a pigment ink thinking pigments are more light fast, but I mean, I should know better. All watercolors are made with pigments and some of them are not so light fast. I also have the Sailor Storia in Lion, which is like a light brown. I've had this one for a while. It's really fun. I was never really particularly sure if it was light fast at all. I know that there's some mixed reviews from that line. But again, I've actually had this one like on drawings that are up hanging and it hasn't been a problem. So we'll see. Hi, Danny. All these bottles are so pretty. Yes, they are. They are. It's a little dangerous because, you know, I like pretty things. I also pulled out the Windsor Newton. This is just like a drawing ink, the waterproof black. I don't sell my art, so I'm not worried about Lightfastness. Well, in that case, I really enjoy working with the Platinum Sepia. It's not as light fast as as some other pigment inks. So as long as you don't mind that, it's really nice. Like, it flows really nicely. It's a beautiful color. And then I also got a few samples. So, because I was getting overwhelmed with all of these inks, but it's cheap to get ink samples. So I figured I might as well get a few. So I also got Diatrimentis Document Urban Sienna, Noodlers Lexington Gray. So Noodlers Lexington Gray is the only one in this set that's not made with pigments, but it's treated. Like, so it's a dye, but it's treated, and supposedly some people have found it quite light fast, so I decided I'd test it anyway. Sarah Bailey. Hi, thanks, but I find the color separation in some inks so fabulous. I'm so tempted to buy. Yeah, none of these have like very strong shading. I think shading is more common in dye-based inks, actually. So yeah, there's a little bit in some of them, you'll see. Yeah, these are all pigment-based because I'm trying to incorporate them into art that I sell. And because at the moment a lot of the art that I make is sold to private clients to hang on a wall, I do want to make sure that it's all quite permanent. Yeah, and then the last one is this Diatrimentis Document Urban Gray. Now, some of these inks I have in pens. Yeah, we're just gonna shove this out of the way. Shove, shove, shove. I wanted a gray ink, so I'll look into those. Yeah, so I think Diatrimentis has a few. Lily is sort of gray, but it's a very dark gray. I quite like it. It's like, in writing, it almost looks like a black. Both Lily and the Suboku, these two, when you write with them, they almost look like a black, but they're not quite black, which is nice because, you know, black ink can be a little stark. For a lighter gray, I don't know, maybe this urban gray will be interesting. I don't want to have too many pens on the go at the same time because I won't be able to keep track. So I'm hoping to just have, you know, right now I have 4 pens filled. And I feel like 4 or 5 is about my limit for fountain pens. And then I also do keep a, just like a little cheap roller ball as well. Hey Alex, how are you? How's the workday treating you? I love the platinum bottle design. Oh yes, it's one of my favorites. Okay, so I'm gonna start with what I already have inked in my pens, and I'm just gonna like do a little writing sample, write the name of the inks, and then for these ink swatches, I don't think that I'm going to like tape it up or anything. But I am gonna use a pen to do a writing sample. For the ones that I don't have inked in a pen, I do have a glass dip pen, which I can use. To do a writing sample, and then I will, with the brush, just do a wash so that we can do a less saturated version as well. That glass pen is gorgeous. Yes, so I got this on Amazon when it was really cheap, and then right away after that it got super expensive, but I think it's available from a couple of Chinese fountain pen companies. The same design. I don't know if Cyan is going to show up in this this chat, but she would probably have more information. I've just had a weekend, but I could do with a month off. Oh goodness. I don't give myself enough time off. Today's a holiday it's a holiday Monday in Canada. Look what I'm doing. I just had a conference all weekend and now I'm here with you guys, but this is fun work. Okay, so in this one, in this pen, I still have the platinum pigment sepia. So I'm just gonna start writing. So platinum pigment sepia. And then I'm gonna doodle some stuff. Platinum pigment. So I'm it occurred to me that I'm going to be slicing this right through, so maybe I want to have what I'm writing on each side, which is why I've repeated the same thing. And then here I have it inked in a TWSBI Eco Extra Fine. TWSBI Eco. What's on the menu today? What's on the menu today is I'm Lightfast testing a whole bunch of fountain pen inks. Because I took a deep dive. Sort of irresponsible, but oh well. I've been enjoying making artwork that's got a bit more of a line element. But I find that just stark black lines is often a little too much. So I like the graphic line element of having lines, but I would prefer to have some options that aren't stark black. And the problem is that fountain pen inks, particularly non-black ones, are often not very Lightfast. So I bought a whole bunch that are made with pigments and have some Lightfast testing to them. This platinum pigment sepia was my first foray, but it's not Lightfast. So I'm putting this down for comparison. And then I'm going to do some writing samples and some brushwork samples with these. And then I'm going to cut up this paper and stick half of it on my window. That's the plan for today. Shouldn't be too long. It's a lot less than, certainly than my last video where I tested a whole bunch of watercolors. I do still have a couple of open spots on my last watercolor sheet. So I've done Lightfastness testing for a bunch of watercolors, but this last sheet still has a couple spots which I may fill up. Hoping your phone holds out today. Good. Well, I mean, this shouldn't be a terribly long live stream, so hopefully you'll be able to catch most of it, even if your phone acts up. Okay, so I'm also going to oh, that's actually really beautiful. Damn it, why isn't this Lightfast? This is like the theme of these Lightfast tests, is I keep testing things and I know they're not Lightfast. Like I know this pigment sepia is not Lightfast, but it's so pretty. Could you push the paper a bit upward? Yes, absolutely. Yeah, Dan, didn't you say that you were getting better Wi-Fi? Oh, you're moving, right. Okay. Got it. When's that happening? Okay, so that's the pigment sepia. What else do I have inked? So I'm going to start with the pens that I have inked, and then we'll move on. So next I have colored pigmented waterproof fountain pen ink, the holy grail. Oh, did I forget about no sheen? I mean, I guess I'm probably okay with some sheen. But yes, it is sort of a, you know, a very fussy person thing, I guess. So next is this Sketch Ink Emma by Roder and Clear. And again, this is also in a 12B Eco. And let's move you up even further. I'm loving this one too. It's a slightly muted green, but it's still fairly bright. And it's light, so it just adds just the most subtle line element when you're painting leaves and stuff. I've really been enjoying this one. So this is by Rorer and Klinger. Rorer and Klinger. We are going to do some of these. Like that. And then, hi Nettie. When I move, I can. The place I'm moving can get fiber broadband. I'm awaiting a moving date. Predicted is okay, so like later in the month or early next month. All right. Let's make sure that this is cleaned up. Let's move these maybe some brighter lights over me. And so then hopefully you can see this at full saturation. Isn't this a pretty green? Oh yeah. So that's those. Next, I have this thing. So this is the Sailor Suboku. In a, what's this thing called? Oh, it's a Pilot Falcon. Pilot Falcon soft extra fine in and soft, extra fine. I can spell. Okay, and then we can do some more of these little X's. This means I need to buy a new fountain pen. I feel like I'm a terrible influence. I'm very sorry. And also, sorry, not sorry. Okay, so there's some lines. Hi, everyone. Hi, Ev, how are you? Okay. The Eco's the one for me. It's everything. I love the TWSBI Eco. It's so nice. I bought this one and it converted me to fountain pens a little bit. And then I was like, okay, fine, I'm gonna deep dive. And then I bought the much more expensive Pilot Falcon. And it has grown on me a little. When I first tried it, I really didn't like it. Now it's okay. I'm good with it. We're friends. But I feel like this was $150 Canadian, which was pretty cheap. Like usually they're a lot more expensive than that, but even still, I don't feel like that's like more than triple the price of these guys, and I don't feel like it's more than triple the value. In fact, I think I prefer these guys. This is a perfect opportunity to buy a green Kaweco Sport. Yep, that does seem like the right pen for that. Although I will say it's quite nice in the TWSBI Eco too. I will see how the extra fine TWSBI Eco works out. The fact that I can completely disassemble it was a huge pro. Yeah. I do really like demonstrators and like the big ink capacity because I'm drawing all the time. I mean, this one just, I use it up really fast. Anyway, so. Ev says, all my favorite fountain pens are the ones under $50. Do you want to tell me what your other favorite pens are, other than the Eco, which is amazing? Hi, Lise. How are you? The expensive ones I have were gifts. Ah, yes. I don't have people who gift me fountain pens. I probably could, actually, if I expressed a desire to experiment with fountain pens to the right people, but it's not something that, like, for example, my family has ever been really into. Kaweco Sports are great. It's just the second time they've been mentioned. Don't they have, so I looked into them and they look really pretty, but don't the Kaweco Sports have a, like, very, like, their converters are tiny? Oh, that was the issue. Tired today after spending time with family all day yesterday, but otherwise good. Ah, yes. I love fountain pens very much, but thankfully it's a long-distance relationship. I live vicariously through you, far too prone to dropping and spilling everything to dare have ink by the bottle. I feel you. This is why I haven't really gotten into fountain pens until very recently. But I feel like as long as they're in a fairly solid pen and I don't have very many of them, I will have fewer accidents. But they take standard cartridges. Yeah, okay, I get it. All right, I have cartridge issues. I don't want to use cartridges. Anyway, how would you compare this blue color? From the screen, it looks like a PB60. It dries to, Gabor, were you the one who said that you really liked Windsor Newton Indigo? This is Windsor Newton Indigo in ink. When it dries, I mean right now it's wet here. I fill this cartridges with a syringe with a blunt tip that I've filed. Okay, so now I'm going to, like, I'm with Alex here. The idea of filling, like, maybe it's silly because I do just use these and I dip them right into the inkwell and it's fine. But the idea of, like, involving syringes filled with staining liquid in my art, yeah, I would make a mess. I feel like I've missed something. Oh, why am I on? No, I'm on live chat. Okay. Oh, sorry. We're talking about Laura, the dog. Okay, got it. Sorry. Lise says, I only have the platinum carbon desk pen and the green cheap sailor fude nib. Can you comment on the green cheap sailor fude nib? Specifically, I'd like to know how quickly does it dry out. I've really enjoyed, what I really like about the TWSBIs, among others, is that they've got this like this inner cap and a seal here, so they don't dry out, which is great because I've got a few different colors of ink, and I'm using pigment ink, so they could clog a pen, but I haven't had any trouble whatsoever because of that lid design. I've been curious about the Sailor Fude nib, but I think it's just got a regular cap. Oh my, then I start searching the internet for this ink. Can you show the exact type? Yeah. Okay, so there's two very similar ones. You want this one. This one is called Sailor Suboku, Souboku. Can one of the mods get him a link to Sailor Suboku? What you don't want is Sailor Seiboku, which is very similar but much more blue. If you're looking for that indigo shade. Thanks, Dan. Okay, next. What do we have next? Okay, next I have like a very, very cheap, no-name Chinese pen, which I got on AliExpress, I think, just to play with. This was like $3. But it's got a piston filler. And so far, it's been treating me quite well. Okay, so this is, hi Annette. So this is Sketch. So it does skip a tiny bit. Ink right when you start, and it's got a somewhat chunkier nib, I guess. Lily. Oh, great. Okay, yeah. So we've got We've got all the ink links. Okay, so it's the Suboku, the first one that I've linked, which is the more indigo-y shade. The other one is more of like a true teal blue. I'll swatch it in just a moment. Okay, in random Chinese pen. So this one looks very close to black when you're writing with it, but it's just a little bit, like it's a gray. So it looks a little bit softer if you're going to be putting some other stuff on top of it. I got Canada covered. Perfect. Yeah, Wonder Pens is great. Okay. Oh, what am I doing? I wanted a little bit. So this is like a gray brown, sort of. I feel like maybe I got some, oh boy. I feel like maybe I rubbed it against some other stuff. Yeah, okay. So we're gonna do another. Dinner time, see ya. Bye, Paulo. Thanks for dropping in. I love the clip I got, and it was orange, so what not to enjoy about it? That's perfect. That's great. They stalked you and found out what you wanted. Okay, so I think that's it for the pens I have inked, which means now we're going to be going into stuff I need to use a dip pen for. How's the softness of the Pilot Falcon? Can you get a nice thick and thin from it? Yes, but you really have to push. Like, here. Or you know what, I'll just add it in here. I can, but you kind of have to. See, like, I don't know, not really something that I feel like doing very much. Any random letter sent for me is my assistant helping. The other thing that you can sort of do with the Falcon is you can write, like you can shade with the back. So that's kind of nice. I do like that feature. Oh, sorry. I'm off the edge of the screen, so you didn't even see that. Yeah, I wanted, like, I got it because of the flex. Like, I thought, oh, the flex is going to make my life so much better. And no, really no. Yeah. Honestly, I would not, I think that there are, it's neat, but I don't think that, like, for $150 that I'm getting $150 of value out of this nib. And the rest of the pen kind of sucks. So it's got an interesting nib, and then, okay, here, I'm gonna complain about my $150 pen, because this is the quality entertainment that you are all here for. This pen, it has a proprietary cartridge in it. It's also almost empty. It has a really tiny volume, this cartridge. And you hear that? And I think I may have interpreted 1400 hours as 4 o'clock. I think this might also not be your fault. I think when I set up this stream, something went weird with the time, because when I started it, it was telling me that it was going to start in 100 and something minutes. So, sorry. I think that might be on me. I had forgotten everything about this stream, so found it due to sheer dumb luck. Yeah, I mean, I had forgotten everything about this stream and had to ask people like, oh, right, guys, did I not promise that I was going to do a stream? Whoops. Oops. Anyway, you hear that rattle? It sounds like a cheap, like there's something broken inside of it, and then I splash ink everywhere. There's nothing broken. There's these little agitator beads in here that are supposed to keep pigment ink from clogging. So I guess that's a positive. But it makes it sound really cheap. There's nothing really special about the pen body. The volume is really tiny. Yeah. I don't feel like it's got an interesting nib, but I don't feel like the nib is worth the $150 that I paid for this pen. And the truth is, in Canada, it would usually be more like $220 Canadian. So, yeah, I will save you the trouble if what you're looking for is a flex, like an inking pen with a flex nib. I feel like there's probably better options out there. Although I can't really tell you what the better options are because I haven't really explored it that much. Basically, the eco is winning. Yes, the eco is winning. That's the takeaway here. Okay, next I'm going to test the other Sailor ink. So this is just a glass pen that I'm using to, oh, sorry, let's get you just a little bit in, and I'm gonna bump the camera out just a little. Yeah, so Sailor, say, Boku, glass, dip, pen, Sailor, glass, pen. I love the G-nib in a dip pen. It flexes the right amount and works with all inks. Is less than $3. Yes. I think if I was the kind of non-messy person who could work with dip pens without reliably spilling ink, like this is terrifying me because the chances of me spilling something like this, I feel like Alex understands my pain here. But like I use a dip pen for masking fluid. And the number of times that I've spilled masking fluid is just staggering. So yeah, I'm just a messy person. I put my ink bottle in a tinfoil pie plate. Yeah, I would just knock the whole tinfoil pie plate, like tinfoil pie plate and all over the room. Like you guys, you get a very curated version of my life here. You know, on video and on my Instagram feed, I'm like a regular person who is organized and not a messy disaster. In real life, I'm just a messy disaster. I'm a messy disaster of a person. Okay. Alex, tinfoil pie plate, messy frisbee, and future wall painter. Yes, yes, exactly, exactly. And couch painter, and table painter, and cat painter. Yes, 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 yes. Alex, you understand me. Okay. Okay, so this is the Seiboku. Okay, now we're gonna close this. Perhaps dry media. Yeah, I mean, this is why I work in watercolor, is it actually cleans up relatively okay. And unlike like pencils, you'll have like a dozen pencils all over your desk. And then you lose one, and then it's very frustrating. Well, I lose one because I'm a disaster. Watercolor, I mean, it stays in its little tin, right? Like, where's it gonna go? So this is, yeah. I just have to work with the fact that I'm a disaster human who likes making very detailed, very clean work. I have a big, heavy cutting board that I use putty to glue my ink bottles to before I open them, and I'm still having adrenaline rushes when I ink. Okay, yeah, so that sounds like the sort of thing that might work for me. And I've seen some like antique inkwells that have like a big, heavy, like a, you know, a glass or brass base that's like very large and flat, so you can't tip it. And then it's just got a holder for the ink. And maybe if I, you know, come across the right thing in a vintage store at some point, I might get one. Agree with the tinfoil plate. I'd have to tape it down. Yeah. So far you haven't sold me the sketch inks, but I love the upper row. Ah. Yeah. I mean, I've been enjoying the sketch inks. I really like this one. Sure. Okay, cool. So that's the Seiboku. So this one is more of a like a Prussian blue, I guess. Yeah, I would say this is more like a Prussian blue, and this one is more like a indigo. Okay, next up, let's try a different brown. Okay, This is, what's it called? Diatrimentis. Diatrimentis brown artist ink in glass dip. Brown, I can spell. Artist ink in glass dip. And then we can let's go the other direction. Is Schmincke still a thing? I don't know, but apparently Gabor does. I keep the inks blue tacked to a ceramic plate and above the paper, so I can't knock it over accidentally. Okay, that's a good strategy. Oh, and then I keep sealing this up again. I'm not quite at the sealing point yet. I still need to swatch this. And let's make sure that I have a fully clean brush. Are the Sailor inks waterproof? Yes, they're some of the most waterproof fountain pen inks I've ever seen. I mean, they do take a little bit of time to dry, so, you know, be aware of that, but once they're dry, they are waterproof. Aha! Okay. I have a thing to show off. They are, I thought I had one, tried one and it reactivated a bit. If they are fully waterproof, I'm in. I mean, I've used them with watercolor, no problem. So see this? See this beautiful thing? Oh. I've got an acrylic lid now for my studio palette. So now cats can't get into the palette. So my husband has been converting our carpeted basement to a workshop without removing the carpet. Just let's put wood shavings and acrylic shavings all over this, grind it into the carpet. But that's fine. I support this. I just tease him a little. And so he was playing with acrylic and he built me this lid for my studio palette. Reverse renovating. Well, you know what it actually is, Stephen, is it's a, you know, once it gets to a certain point, then it needs to be renovated versus just like, you settle into a, well, this is okay, and you just adapt. And then you make your living space so bad that you need to renovate it. So we are gonna have major renovations in the spring that we're planning. And so all the new workshop gear is so that we can do some of those renovations, mostly like a table saw so that we can cut wood. But then the other thing that we're going to be doing is converting half the basement into a workshop. It's not hard to make something similar, and it really limits the risks of accident spill. Clumsy ink friends, check this out. Okay, I'm gonna have to check that out later, but that sounds promising. Okay, I'm gonna move this over here. Okay, and you can sort of hear what's going on my desk. Hopefully I don't knock anything over. Okay. All right, cool. Okay, sorry, where were we? I'll post it on your Discord too. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. So, yeah, that one is, I guess, Suboku back of pen. Right. Okay. So that's that. Next. So many choices. Let's try document brown. Okay, so next we have whatever this is, Diatrimentis document brown. So Diatrimentis has a document line and an artist line, and we're not quite sure what the difference is. I'm not quite sure what the difference is. Maybe someone in the chat knows. Document brown does appear to be a little bit darker, maybe, than the artist brown. Last night, Dexter pulled my dinner plate and dinner off the coffee table and onto the floor with his tail. I feel we are too disaster-prone a family to dare indulge in inky things. So I do super love that. Callie doesn't want me to write you. She's lying on my lap and can't really move. Silly studio assistants. So demanding. Your feedback is not important, human. Pat me. Correct. They know who's boss. Okay. Okay. So that's the document brown. It is a pretty brown. I do like this brown. And apparently, so a lot of people have said that this one doesn't ever clog. So, yeah, I had a brown ink that clogged everything and now I'm terrified. But apparently this one's not that, so I might try this after like that's probably what I'll replace the pigment sepia with. Will be this document brown. I said it already, that top row is the better one. Okay, well, I mean, people had asked about water resistance, so let's try that. Let's just, some of these have had some time to dry. Oh my goodness. This isn't a very clean brush. Okay, I feel like I'm not giving the best impression because I used a dirty brush. But it doesn't, so the sepia is not really lifting up. Let's see about the sketching. Like if I really work it, maybe a little. Don't feel like it's really going anywhere. Okay, let's try the sketching. Okay, so the sketching lily is, this one is noticeable. But it's still pretty waterproof, just not as perfect as some of the others. Okay, switch to laptop. Let's see how long this will last. Okay. Sorry, Dan. Hope your new internet at your new place is better. Okay, so the Seiboku does seem to spread a little bit more than the Suboku. Just a touch of line softening. Yeah, tiny bit on the Seiboku, but maybe it's because I used a thicker pen. There's like basically nothing on most of these. This one is softening a little. I'm gonna leave these two to dry a little bit longer. I mean, keep in mind also that I would expect a little bit more softening in the more dilute samples too. Just because whatever is the binder will be diluted with water. Okay, what else do I have to test? Tough love while trying to reach Leaves live stream. Aww. Okay. Home stretch down. Moving is right around the corner. Okay, so let's try some of these samples now. So I have Diatrimentis Urban Sienna. Will this fit inside? It will. Okay, so Diatrimentis document Sienna. And glass dip pen. Dip. So this one's a lighter brown, like maybe a little bit more similar to the pigment sepia, but more of an orangey tone instead of red. And I'm holding this little vial in my hand because if I let it go, I'm sure to just spill it everywhere. Yeah, like this is, you know, if you paint it out, this is a burnt sienna. Oh, it's kind of a pretty burnt sienna too. It's like got a yellow undertone. Ooh, pretty. Okay, that's that's kind of neat. How does one unclog a pen? That sounds like a messapalooza. Do you drain what's in the pen and to a secondary container and then try to force hot water and isopropyl through? So it depends on the pen a little bit. Most of them disassemble. So with these ones, for example, you could pull out this section. So this is the nib and then this is the converter. And you can pull these apart. And so you can soak this nib section. Technically, you can actually pull out the whole nib and clean that. But usually it's enough to just soak this in a, in like distilled water or, well, I mean, water. I use distilled water because my local water is very, very high in minerals. You can just use the little twist mechanism on the, here, I will grab a, if you've got a pen that has a converter like this, you can use just the little, okay, I'm gonna move this out of the way. If you have a pen that has a converter like this, you can just see how it's spilling here. So this is just like a little piston thing. So you can dump the ink out and then like swish around with water or a cleaning solution to get the last of it out. So you can disassemble pens quite a bit to get the different parts clean. The TWSBI Ecos also disassemble. Like you could unscrew this and pull apart the nib section and whatever, but it's all integrated into the pen. So you can just use this little piston at the top. Basically, the entire pen is like that, in that converter inside the other one. So you can twist it up and twist it down and clean it around and whatever. And if it gets really gummy, then you can pull out the nib and clean that separately. Lol, on a more sinister note, I've just realized I'm mulling a poisonous pigment. Okay. What do you mean you just realized? What are you mulling, Dan? I mean, there's a lot of toxic pigments. You make like manganese blue and stuff, and cadmiums. Don't eat it? Does it generally only clog in the nib region, or could it be further upstream, for a lack of a better word? Usually when pens stop writing, it's because the nib is clogged, because that's where, so in your little nib section, the ink has to flow down here, like in between this feed and the nib itself. And so that's a very small little area, and so that's where ink would tend to dry and clog up. I mean, technically, if you leave a pen, you know, for a year full of ink, it could clog anywhere. But usually when you have to clean a pen, it's because it's clogged up the feed. Or pigment. I didn't realize it was arsenic until I just looked at the pigment. Oh, Dan, my goodness. Yeah, no, that's why it's not usually made in modern paint. It's a lovely color, but yeah, it is. Yeah, it is arsenic. Okay, all right. So that's one page done. Let's pull this off, and we'll do another. We are getting to the end though, so I have. Let's set aside 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8 that I've already swatched. Now let's get into browns, or not browns, grays. Yes, I agree with Alex's comments on mulling poisons. Yeah, Dan, you wearing a mask? Okay. How are we doing? Next, we have Urban Gray. Yeah, I don't have a huge amount of experience to the brush pen questions. I don't have a huge amount of experience with brush pens. I think that Ev frequently uses the Pentel pocket brush pen. That one comes with proprietary cartridges, if I recall correctly. Okay, so this is Diatrimentis document. Urban Gray. I filled a cheap Pentel brush pen with ink and water to get a gray tone. If it clogs, then I just replace it. It's cheap. I think I did that once too, and it did clog, and then that was sort of the end of that experiment. But I'm not suggesting that that's a, like, it's always going to clog. I didn't get very far with that experiment because I don't really use brush pens that much. Okay, so in writing, this seems like a pretty dark gray. Let's see what it looks like in brushing out. Shame Paulo isn't here. He could probably answer the arsenic question. Well, you can always put it in my... I see. This is very similar to that lily color, I think. We'll pull that out in a moment. So this is like a sort of warm gray. That's neat. You can put it in the Discord. If anyone here isn't on my Discord, I have a Discord channel where I nerd out. You may feel free to join. Speaking of Discord, I've been in a conference this past week for nature journaling. There was a session on plankton, drawing plankton. And the woman running that session she live streams twice weekly on Twitch under the scope just looking at plankton, which is amazing. I'm glad that we live in such a diverse world where this is a thing. She also has a Discord dedicated to just plankton, and after this live stream, I'm going to be going into my Discord and dropping links to all these other resources for like really cool scientists and artists who are doing really cool things, like streaming plankton. Yeah. Your Insta posts from the conference are really inspiring. Oh, thank you. Some people say good things about putting some ink into water brushes with good results. I feel like that's what I did, actually. Mine clogged up right away, but, you know. What? How is good morning inappropriate language? Oh, did somebody get flagged? Oh, I see. Hi, Joy. I'm so glad you made it. Oh, good morning. It's not morning here at all. It's 3:40 p.m., but good morning. How did you sleep? We do have a new baby in the family. New baby? That's exciting. Okay, next gray. Next we have Noodlers Lexington Gray. So this is the only non-pigment ink I have. Is this Noodlers Lexington Gray? I slept with the assistance of drugs. Ah, yay drugs. Okay, so this is Lexington Gray. This is not a pigment ink, but Noodlers put they treat some of their dye-based inks to make them, you know what, these gray ones are drying lighter. Wow, this isn't Diatrimentis. What am I talking about? This is Noodlers. Noodlers. Sorry, so Noodlers treats some of their dye-based inks. It's unclear to me what they put in, but it makes them more waterproof and more light fast. And so some people have said that this Lexington Gray is actually quite light fast. I've seen some tests that seem promising. I didn't really want to go down the road of buying every Noodler's ink, but I thought that this gray might be useful. So I did get a sample of it. So the advantage of using a dye-based ink like Lexington Gray is it doesn't clog your pens as much. The disadvantage is generally dyes are a lot less light fast than pigments. But some of the Noodlers ones, and this Lexington Gray is one of them, seem to perform a little bit better. So it turns out 15 grams of orpiment is lethal. Guess how much I have? Well, it's lethal if you eat it. Don't eat your pigment. Dan. Stop eating pigment. I know it looks like a delicious spice, but it's not turmeric. Don't put it in your curry. Well, thankfully I only have 10 grams. Oh, good. So there's a much lower chance that you will die. Because usually the lethal dose is it kills 50% of people. Better hope that you're not in the 25% that die at 10 grams. But also just don't drink it. Don't eat it. Don't put it in your food. No licking your fingers like you just ate sweets. Don't sniff the pigment. You can't eat watercolors. I would avoid it, Annette. Don't eat any watercolors that Dan sends you. I've been doing this wrong the whole time. Oh, I liked how this spreads. Okay. I'm not sure that this is really a... Okay. So if I put more water in, just like that, that's pretty neat. Okay. There we have Noodlers Lexington Gray. All these tubes and now I can't eat them. Damn. All right. Almost there. Almost done. Okay. Now we have Sailor Storia. This is Lion. And I've used this in a few paintings. When I bought it, it is pigment based, but there's some mixed reviews of the light fastness of this line, so I wasn't really expecting anything in particular. The paintings I used them on, I got this on sale. This bottle is discontinued. But it's so pretty. Lion. Brown. Sailor. Storia. Lion. Brown. That bottle design reminds me of makeup. These ones, the Sailor, these guys remind me of like a perfume or something. Do you have a respirator Hall of Fame with the list of which pigments you should definitely wear the respirator to mall? Now may be a good time. Yeah, Dan, please don't die. Makers always end up with swallowing, inhaling some of the pigments, so I have a rather amount. I've consumed around 0.01 grams at most. Great, I'm so glad. I mean, okay, so arsenic is present in... Sorry, no, I'm not thinking of arsenic. I'm thinking of cyanide. Cyanide's present in almonds. Bitter almonds, especially. You know, the like when you get almond flavored things and they use almond oil, that's bitter almond oil, and it does have some... It's denatured if you get it in oil format, but you can use a little bit of bitter almond, and it contains cyanide. What am I doing? Why did I add water here? Oh my goodness. Okay, let's... make sure that to mix this around. That's more even. Lee, don't spray ink on yourself like a perfume. Damn it! But that was my plan for looking pretty tonight. That's how we detect cyanide in the lab. Sorry, how do we detect cyanide in the lab? Because of the beautiful scent of almonds? We run like hell if we do detect it. At least I do. Not everyone can smell it, right? Oh, I didn't know that not everyone can smell it. Not everyone can smell cyanide. That's fascinating. My friend had to use cyanide by the gallon working in a lab on a specific experiment, plastics engineering. She can't smell cyanide. She wasn't allowed to work in lab alone. Wow, that's fascinating. I didn't know that. I mean, I know that some people can't smell at all, but I didn't know that some people specifically can't smell cyanide. I would be terrible. That's like one of my favorite smells. Like, oh man, I just want to like sit here and smell the almonds. A very keen sense of smell. Mine's all right. Okay, yeah, so now we're gonna do platinum carbon black. Now, with this one, there's really no question. It is Lightfast. It's just carbon, but we also have a drink based on bitter almonds. I love the smell of bitter almonds. It's really bad. Because there's like ice creams and stuff made from bitter almonds. Like just, you know, you put like 3 in. Is that marzipan? No, cyanide. Yeah, but are we sure it's not marzipan? Right, exactly. Platinum carbon ink. I can spell. I could eat marzipan by the pound. Yes. Yes. Okay. And we can draw this. Da, 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 da. So Stephen, bitter almonds, I guess if you ate enough of them, you might get a bitter taste out of them. But when you smell almond, like when you smell the smell of almonds, that's always bitter almonds. And it's always like, because regular almonds don't have nearly as much of that almondy smelling compound. So when you get almond extract that is bitter almonds, but it's a different species of almond. Yeah. So bitter almonds are what give you that, like, that really strong almondy smell that you get in like almond baked goods from almond extract. That's not regular almonds. But that's also cyanide. That's the nice smelling stuff, is cyanide. So you can get almond extract, which I think then is denatured, so that you get the smell but not the cyanide. And you can get some baked goods, some traditional things that are made with some traditional sweets that are made with just a very small amount of bitter almond, and as long as you don't have too much, it won't kill you. Yeah. But I love that smell. Growing up, almond, like croissant with almond paste inside was my favorite baked good. So almond croissants, and I also really like marzipan. So like a lot of my favorite sweets have always been bitter almond. I love that smell. I would be very dangerous in a lab handling it, because I'd be like, yum, tasty baked goods. Almond croissant are the bomb, right? Right? Yeah. Glad someone agrees. Okay, and then I'm just gonna swatch this sepia now. Yeah, I don't know what's up with the flagging today. We are talking about poison and killing people. I don't know. My channel is in review right now too. I feel like I got some of the brown in here, so I'm just gonna make like a really dark black out of this one. Okay, so that's because I said good morning. Made YouTube suspicious. So what? It's not morning. We don't. New Zealand doesn't exist. It's this fictional place. I don't know. I think my channel's in review right now because I just got monetized. Hooray! My next live stream, I'll be doing palette filling for a giveaway. But I just got monetized, so maybe, I don't know, maybe they're like keeping a closer eye on me right now. I'm one of those sketchy channels where people say good morning. People on YouTube comments are miserable, so I get that YouTube considers it suspicious. Oh, maybe that's it too. I had a bunch, like a wave of comments on a couple of my last videos that were just, like, the comment itself wasn't anything terrible, but it was like, good morning, guys. And it was just like an account that was just that the photo was just like some, you know, pornographic whatever, and then there were all sorts of like kissy face emojis and whatever. So I just removed a bunch of comments that hadn't even been flagged. They were auto approved, like they didn't even go into spam or review, which is weird because often like real comments do go into review. But I just removed a whole bunch that said stuff like, good morning, hello, whatever. Would you like to be my boyfriend was another one. Remember I saw those not safe for work comments on one of Ev's videos. Right, but it wasn't even like, there was nothing not safe for work about the comment itself necessarily. It was just like all of these like little kissy face emojis and whatever, and then like a picture of somebody's butt. Right, Maine Coon, flagged. Good morning, flagged. Death by almonds, carry on, good sir. Oh yeah, the great cute girl comments. Yeah, Ev, have you been getting a bunch of those recently too? Because I just got like a half dozen of them, and it's, I don't know. My channel has grown a little bit recently, but I get it a lot. Okay. All right, so I guess I'm just like, I guess I've just got to the size of a channel where that starts being an issue. Ugh. It's annoying. Like, why doesn't it get flagged? I'll put a video. I didn't wake up to see a woman's chest on the comment section. I'll put a video on one of the Discord for fellow YouTubers about some really shady channels. Okay, cool. Get on Insta a lot. I get tagged by either weird Russians or porn. I get the occasional thing on Insta, but honestly not that much on Instagram. I do get some private messages on Instagram that are just nonsense. I get one or two comments on Insta, it's a good post. I had a real lull in like Instagram, like for like a year. My Instagram followers barely budged. My posts were getting really low engagement. I mean, I wasn't posting that frequently, so that's probably part of it, but definitely just the last little while it seems to have picked up again. Knock on wood. Now I want to get that ad about single Russians in my area. Is that what's missing from your life, Paolo? Dan, I'm sorry, Leah will stop sending you DMs. Dan, is that you? Are you the like busty blonde from wherever who wants to meet in person? I even get weird messages on Insta. I have barely any followers. Huh, that's interesting. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I get a few, but recently it's been a lot on YouTube. Okay. And then the last thing that I'm going to test, and again, this one is not expected to be any problem, but this is a roller ball, unit ball, roller ball, unit ball, what's it called? Deluxe micro. I remember I had a bunch of not safe for work accounts DMing me on Twitter once. I bet they were all bots. My cover's blown. Well, if only I'd known, Dan. Might not have deleted you right away. We do have common interests. My Insta profile is still in its infancy, growing pretty slowly. It's terrible converting people to my blog, but I still enjoy doing it, and that's what matters. Yeah, stressing about social media followers is just kind of a lost cause and just makes everyone sad, so there's really no point. Okay, well, that's all for the inks, I think. I think I've tested every ink I have in my house. Oh, I guess I can probably do some more of the like the waterproofing testing, and then that's it for the inks. I do still have a couple of spots open. I have a very, very dirty water here, so it's probably going to leave a residue when I paint with it, but oh boy, yeah, is it ever going to leave a residue? Okay, I'm going to pick that up. Yeah, so these lines are from my water being dirty, not really the paint spreading, the ink spreading. So, sorry. And again here, that has nothing to do with. I'm going to clean up my water. I'll be right back. Lee, do you have the Sailor Kiwa Guru black ink? I do not, sorry. My Twitter is like 99% dogs, so I love it, and that is the trick, people. Social media is like a black hole. If you're not careful enough, it'll drag you down and stretch you emotionally. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, I mean, doesn't really seem to be. I made a Twitter in, I think, 2013, followed a bunch of WWE wrestlers, and then forgot it existed. I assume it still exists, nothing remarkable, and I don't understand how it works. I'm like on and off on Twitter. At one point, I feel like my Twitter has taken a bunch of different like weird left turns. I made Twitter like way back when I was involved in some political campaigns. And so it was like very much a political space. I have a whole bunch of political followers. Then I did some like transit activism for a while. And so I was posting about that. Now I like sort of post about art, but I also like, yeah, I don't know. I'm not super active on Twitter. Okay, so there's a little feathering with the Sailor Storia. I'm gonna leave this, which isn't quite dry yet. And then the last thing is, so I have my paints. Joy, Bubs shall be tiny human until indicated otherwise. Yep, tiny human is a good name for tiny baby. So then we have all my swatches from the last stream. And then I have one last one where I promised some people some things. So somebody wanted to see a test on Opera and a test on Alizarin Crimson. And so I'll test Opera and Alizarin Crimson. Opera Rose by SunAndColours, this one. I don't even know what it's actually like. SunAndColours might call it Opera Pink or something. But this is the one that I have because Ev sent it to me. Thank you, Ev. Oh, wait. No, sorry. This is stupid. Opera. Opera. They both go in the same place. I'm being dumb about how I'm handling these. Okay. Yeah. Whoops. Okay. So it's this guy, I believe. Which is your favorite opera, F? Michello. Is it brighter? Like, what makes it your favorite? This is SunAndColours, because I think I have about 3, but 2 of them are at the other studio. I think I also have Schmincke and Windsor Newton. But the others are at the other studio. This one, because it's in a student palette, is here. This isn't looking quite as bright as I remember it. Then Holbein's has its Lightfastness. The Magella one is intense and stupidly neon. Ah, so it just fades more. Hello, Jackson's. Yeah, so this one's SunAndColours, so it's probably the same as Jackson's. No matter how many words I mute or people I block, it will still somehow slither into my field. Same here. I follow Wholesome, but it's not what they post. It's the problem. Okay. Yeah, so then the other thing that I wanted to do was I realized I had swatched the Roman. So Roman Schmal sent me their Hansa Yellow Light and their Lemon Yellow, and they said they think their Yemen. So Roman said that he thinks his Lemon Yellow performs better than his Hansa Yellow Light, and so he sent me this specifically for me to test Lightfastness on. And I don't usually keep PY3, but I do have this set from Schmincke. And yes, there is a video coming where I talk about this set and unwrap it. But I just remembered that I do have this other Lemon Yellow. So I'm going to test that here. And see how that compares. And then the other thing was Kimberly Crick brought up a few other issues that I wanted to test. Where she mentioned that P064, which is Deep Orange in Roman Schmal's line, and Saturn Red, this one, in Schmincke's line, has some issues. Isn't so very light fast. It claims to be light fast, but according to Kimberly Crick, it is not. I know nothing about this, so this is Schmincke PY3, Schmincke PY3. I'm going to have to write this better on the back. So I'm also going to test the Schmincke Saturn Red. Schmincke Saturn Red. Schmincke Saturn Red. Kimberly seems to be doing a great job. Yeah, she does. I do wonder though, because she's testing on her swatches, she puts salt for texture, and salt can react with some pigments. So I wonder whether some of the issues that she has with things that she's discovered aren't so light fast, might behave differently without salt. We'll see. Anyway, I thought it was interesting. She said that these are always, that the P064 is universally marked as very light fast, like excellent light fastness, and that apparently it's not. I don't know. I don't really use it in my palette, so it's not terribly relevant to me, but I do have 2 versions of it, so I might as well try it, right? Stream is down for me. What about you? It's lagging a bit. It's kind of glitchy. I have to refresh. Oh, sorry guys. Back to normal. Okay. How's everyone's stream now? I got that set and felt the Saturn Red and the green were horrible. Took them out and mixed in colors I liked. I mean, I kind of like I like that there's primaries and secondaries. I don't think that the specific choices of primaries and secondaries are what I would choose in this set. necessarily, but I like that there's a set available that has primaries and secondaries and then these dark colors as well. Okay, so that's Schmincke Saturn Red. So that's P064. Oh, I already wrote that down. Okay, great. So then I have P064 RSA Deep Orange. Actually, weirdly, isn't... Oh no, this one's Payne's Gray. Because Schmincke's Indigo also has genuine indigo in it, doesn't it? I was just thinking, like, maybe that set's just all sorts of pigments that are less light fast, but no. I'm hearing Schmincke is a good name as long as the kitten is cute. Well, cute kittens are always good, no matter what their names are. My friend found a kitten in a soybean field and named her Tofu, which I think is the most adorable thing ever. Okay. For a second, I thought my laptop was possessed, but it was just Lee mumbling. Sorry. Okay. So I made myself a nice little set of, these are all Roman Schmal Aquarius paints in a White Nights tin, which Lana sent me. Yay, Lana! So I put together a set of 28 Roman Schmal paints, which leaves me with an assorted bunch of other Roman Schmal paints. And so this is the assorted other set, which includes the P064. I like it better than the Schmincke. I think it's pretty. Apparently it's not very light fast though. We'll see. Okay. Isn't that why there are so much choices? We all like different colors. There are gonna be more rats babies. Yeah, cats once I move. Okay, cool. So that's that. Does anyone have any requests for these last two spots? Sorry, one moment. Sorry, I don't know what that was about, but it removed me. Now I'm back. Okay, indigo. I have a genuine indigo here somewhere. Where did I put it? Did I not swatch an indigo? I thought I had, oh, it's right here. So I did swatch the Shinhan genuine indigo. I have, do I have an actual indigo in a palette? This one doesn't. I might, one moment. Sorry, trying to figure out what I have where. Do I keep in my palettes? Wait. What's going on here? Dioxazine violet. I have 3 dioxazine violets swatched. So I have Windsor Newton, Core, and PV37 from Roman Schmal Aquarius. It's almost a face reveal. I mean, my face shows up in a lot of my videos if you want to see what I look like. It's not a secret. I was thinking an indigo mix to see if it holds up. Yeah, I have a couple of Payne's Grays. I'm still really stumped by the Genuine Mayan Blue by Daniel Smith not being Lightfast. I don't have that handy, unfortunately. But what can I do? Sorry, trying to figure out what's going on in my life. There was something that I was going to do. What was I thinking? Sorry, my brain's not working so hot. Oh, right, okay. Here's another thing that I own that the manufacturer has told me is not Lightfast. But Roman Schmal, I have the unpronounceable gray. It's pronounced Pribish, but I don't know how to spell it. It's spelled, there's like an S and a Z and a Y, something. But it's pronounced Pribish. I'm aware of that, or Pribish. Unspellable gray. What about the green from the Schmincke palette? I can definitely swatch the green from the Schmincke palette. I will also swatch this gray color. Is that the one? I think so. Maybe, hopefully. I think so. Okay. But it has PR 177 in it and is not Lightfast. If I've got the right one, I may have put it in another palette. I'm gonna have to double check what I even swatched here. But I don't want to pull it out because it's really honeyish and sticky right now. Moonglow? Yeah, this is basically Moonglow. But it's from Roman Schmal. I mean, I thought DS added the genuine in the name to reassure us that was Lightfast, but I was debated. No, I think they just added genuine to reassure you that it's traditional. It's a mineral, but I mean, it's not a mineral because it's whatever. I don't know. Moonglow is definitely easier to spell. Pribish gray. Yes, that's the one. Yeah, I don't have mine blue, but I do have it just at the other studio, so I will, when I get my hands on it, I'll add it to the sheet. And do some light fast tests on it. I just won't swatch it out right this instant. Okay, so then the last spot on here, someone had said the green in the Schmincke palette, whatever it's called. Does anyone remember what the green in the Schmincke palette is? Yeah, we're almost done here. So now would be a great time to go like this stream. Please and thank you. Hookers, permanent green olive, I think. Okay. Yeah, I mean, I have a swatch somewhere that says what it is, but goodness if I know, it's just a green. But the traditional Mayan blue that was discovered in South America was Lightfast. Yeah, Paulo, you have more background on this than I do. You said that one of your coworkers tested it, but I wonder whether it was applied with a medium that isn't watercolor. So like there's a lot of things that they're light fast on the hundreds of years scale for oil or for acrylic that has a thicker paint film. But with watercolor, they're not. So I wonder whether it's something like that, like they were using oil as a binder. Permanent green olive. Okay. So this is Schmincke permanent green olive. Schmincke permanent green olive. Okay. So that's that. So I can set this aside and show you all the sheets that I've got just before I wrap up. And then that'll be that. PO62 PG7. Yeah, I'll write it down. It's just the pigment. Oh, like, okay, fair enough. I don't know. I just know that a few people have tested the modern paints and that the modern paints aren't. They're not fugitive, like, oh, that was what I was going to do. Oh, damn it. I was going to test Alizarin Crimson. Oh, well. Oops. I'll just put that on a different sheet at some point. Or, you know what? I'll just put that. I'm so scattered-brained. Okay, I will add Alizarin Crimson, but I'll add Alizarin Crimson just to the bottom of this ink sheet here. Alizarin Crimson is this beautiful one. I really like the original Alizarin Crimson. It's beautiful. It's so gorgeous. Like it's just got this really nice, like it's soft, but it's vibrant. Got this nice glow to it. It's nice and transparent. It's really gorgeous. I totally understand why artists want to keep using it, but it is not very light fast. Anyway, yeah, that's that. And I'm going to add a little bit more in mass tone. I'm going to use it in my sketchbook with genuine indigo. Yep. It's a crushed strawberry watermelon. Oh, yes. Yes, yes, yes. So this one's from Saint. Yay. Crimson. PR83. PR83. Sennelier. Alizarin Crimson. Actually, speaking of pens, now's not really the time to test this, but Stone Ground Paint Company put out a Crimson. Oh my goodness. They put out an Instagram post where they suggested using diluted watercolor in cheap fountain pens. And once I use up what's currently in my cheap Chinese pen, I might try that. And then I'll report back. My Prisma Strawberry pencil is close to that hue. Yeah, it's something about the transparency too and how it glazes. It's really gorgeous, but unfortunately not very light fast. Okay, sorry. So back to what I was doing. Okay, so I have a whole bunch of paints tested. So I'm going to cut these up. I have a paper cutter, but that's really not friendly to live streaming. And then I've tested my entire studio palette plus some weird problem pigments, plus the Prussian blue that I want to reintroduce to my studio palette. And so then here's the weird problem pigments sheet. Oh, and just like discontinued pigments that like PY117 and PG10, PB80, etc. So that's all interesting. Then I've also swatched a whole bunch of inks. So these are all fountain pen inks, well, mostly all fountain pen inks, and mostly all pigment based. And so each of these I'll swatch, I'll cut down the middle, hang half in a window, and it's going to be about a 9-month test. So I'm going to hang them in a south-facing window in my studio soon. And it'll hang there through the winter, and through the winter the studio gets direct south-facing light. We have no house across from us, so we're at a T intersection. But we have a big tree that blocks the sun through the summer. So it's about to lose its leaves as soon as we have our first frost. And so then I will get direct south-facing sun through the winter, but it will be low angle, low intensity sun. I'll take them down in 5 months and show a preliminary result, and then I'll put them in a west-facing window for the summer, so that they'll get the brightest afternoon summer sun for another 4 months or so. So can we get the results next week? You can get the results in 9 months. Well, actually, you can get preliminary results in 5 months-ish, and then baby growing time. Yeah, exactly. Except instead of babies, you get sad faded inks and sad faded watercolors. Will you scan these at each step? I might, potentially. That sounds like stuff to do. Yeah, I'll try. I will try to. We should get the xenon lamp. Oh, you know what, Paolo? When they tested in your lab, when you tested Mayan blue, did you test it under a xenon, or was it tested under a xenon lamp, or was it tested in a window? Like, was it tested against the actual sunlight? Because one thing that's recently been discovered is that Daniel Smith has a bunch of, like, Daniel Smith's, for example, their Lightfastness ratings, their permanence ratings, are based on xenon lamp tests. However, there's a bunch of things that perform well under xenon lamps and are listed as light fast that actually aren't when exposed in a window. But that being said, if you want to splurge and get me a xenon lamp, I will. I accept. Although if we're crowdfunding a xenon lamp, we could also just send it to Lana. And she does a lot more of this, a lot better than I do. And a new video, you get a new video. You get all the things. Oh, they didn't test the light fastness, only some photophysics things. Okay. Cool. Can you tell me more about this in the Discord chat? So everyone, if you're not there already, I have a Discord channel. The link is in the description for this video. I'm going to cut these things up and hang them in a window. And if I am organized enough, I will post some photos to the blog as well. I don't mind which way, but can we get the results next week? Gabor, I can take pictures next week, but it'll just say that everything is light fast when it's clearly not. So I can give you really bad results next week. They made some analysis to try to discover the structure of it. Oh, like the original Mayan blue. I understand. Okay, that's cool. Bye, guys. This was fun. This was fun. Thank you for coming and hanging out. Always a pleasure. I'll see you on Friday. Friday's stream will probably be a fairly light one. I think I'm just filling some giveaway palettes. Yes, do remember to like, subscribe if you haven't, join the Discord, etc., etc. See ya. Thank you.